Browns are at odds of 220-1 to win the Super Bowl. Their 2016 season win total sits at 4.5. Their odds to win the AFC are plus 10,000, and their odds to take the AFC North are at plus 3,187. In 2015, the Browns went 3-13 straight up, while going 6-10 against the spread, and they went 8-8 on the over-under. Not much is expected from the Browns in 2016, as they have the lowest win total of any team at just 4.5. The Browns have been a mess of a franchise for almost a decade, and they have not had a winning record since 2007, finishing with no more than 5 wins in 7 of the last 8 years. The Browns went out and hired a new head coach yet again, so it's now up to Hugh Jackson to get this team headed in the right direction. The Browns have big problems on both sides of the ball, and they're not even sure who their starting quarterback will be between Josh McCown and Robert Griffin III. The Browns were awful on offense a season ago, averaging just 17.4 points per game, while the defense was also terrible, allowing 29 points per contest, and it is hard to see how it gets any better for the Browns this season. The Cleveland Browns are really hoping that Robert Griffin III is the answer at quarterback, but based on how he played with Washington and with his injury history, that seems unlikely. It won't help that the Browns no longer have Alex Mack in the middle, and they also lost wide receiver Travis Benjamin to San Diego. The Browns are hoping that first-round pick Corey Coleman can be a game-breaking receiver, but it's hard to see him making a huge impact considering he will not get many deep targets because the quarterbacks just don't have the time to throw the ball. It is not all bad news for Cleveland on offense, as they do have a decent running back in Isaiah Crowell and a very good tight end in Gary Barnidge. They also have one of the top tackles in the NFL in Joe Thomas. The Cleveland defense is simply on the field far too often, so it's hard to know just how good the team really is. The Browns spent most of their NFL draft picks on defense as they look to upgrade on that side of the ball. The Browns are counting on DEs Emmanuel Ogbah from Oklahoma State and Carl Nassib out of Penn State to make an immediate impact. The Browns are still going to struggle on defense as they don't have much of a pass rush, and they don't have anyone to help out Paul Kruger in the middle. One of the few bright spots in the secondary is Joe Haden, who is one of the top cornerbacks in the league. The first 4 games of the season will decide if there is any hope at all for Cleveland in 2016, as they simply have to win at least one of their first 4 games, as they will visit Philadelphia, host Baltimore, travel to Miami, and then visit Washington. If the Browns go 0-4, then they could very likely finish with a 2-12 this season. If they can get some positive momentum going early on in the season, then perhaps they can win 5 or 6 games. But that is the optimistic view of this team, as 3-13 seems much more likely.